Cool, clear, and concise. These are the three words that Corsair themselves use to describe their new 400C, a fresh new take on the conventional mid-tower PC case. Its minimalistic appeal, prominent acrylic side window, and beefy yet subdued stance all culminate into what I believe to be a revitalization of Corsair's custom PC entourage. We've got one in the studio and already assembled a PC inside of it. Let's go ahead and take a tour of this $100 work of art. Now first off, I should mention the elephant in the room. Yes, it looks very similar to the S340 from NZXT. Now obviously NZXT fired the first shot, and the success of their version of the case likely caught the attention of competing manufacturers. But you've got to give Corsair a bit of credit where credit is due. First off, Corsair actually realized that the S340 design was a great one, and in many ways you can tell that they've tried to perfect an already excellent design. Okay, so this is a review of the 400C, not the S340, so what makes this thing unique? The front is very minimalistic, featuring nothing more than a small and subtle Corsair logo on the bottom right. The entire panel is removable as well, giving way to a spot for either two 120 or 140mm fans, or their Radiator counterparts. A magnetic dust filter rests between the panel and the fan chassis. If you're wondering where these will push or pull air to or from, not to worry, Corsair has included ventilation grooves along the side of the front panel itself. Moving on to the top, you'll find two either 120 or 140mm fan brackets, but as clearance is limited in this case, I would not recommend trying to stuff a radiator up here. Included and pre-applied over the front mesh is a flexible magnetic dust filter. Move to the south a bit and you'll find the front I/O, consisting of the power button, two USB 3.0 ports, microphone and headphone jacks, a hard drive LED, and a reset switch. The right side of the case is completely bare, while the left side boasts the 400C's perhaps most identifiable feature, the large hinged window. Made entirely out of acrylic, a very scratchable acrylic at that, this door provides enough stability to the chassis and opens via a lever toward the front. I would have liked to have seen a more robust handle, but in case you're wondering, you can't open the front panel at all unless you do pull on that little hinge. And I have to disagree with other YouTube reviewers in this regard. The connection that the lever makes with the chassis when it's finally closed is fairly strong. The entire acrylic panel is removable as well if that matters to you, though you probably won't have to remove it in any case because the door does swing well over 270 degrees, so you'll have plenty of room to assemble all of your gear inside of the case without having to worry about that panel ever getting in your way. The back of the case features support for a single 120mm fan only, no 140mm support in this case, the rear I/O and power supply cutouts of course, and 7 PCI expansion slots. Assembling in this case was a breeze. The basement compartment is actually a two-piece design and is completely removable, giving way to your power supply and the hard drive cage. The cage supports two 3.5-inch hard disk drives or two 2.5-inch solid state drives, though you might find that the included brackets are difficult to get to. With the basement panels reinstalled, front I/O connectors and the graphics card power cable can be routed through the slot on top. The 400C also brings support for an additional 3 solid-state drives along the rear motherboard panel. The setup in this case is actually completely toolless, which is nice to see. 3 large rubber grommets do an excellent job at concealing the 24-pin power connector, as well as additional SATA, USB, and fan cables. Additional slots are available for routing radiator cables and their corresponding fans as well. The depth of the chassis is satisfactory and allows for the installation of even a Hyper 212 Evo with a bit of room to spare. My only complaint here is that the basement panel is extremely difficult to remove and reinsert. I was actually pushing on the bottom of my ATX motherboard at times in order to wedge the plastic into place. I should also note at this point that the original basement comes in black. This one was just custom painted white after the fact. The inside edges of the kit are thick enough for LED light kits to be run securely, and the several slots on the side and top provide excellent cable and LED management. The right side of the case does have limited cable storage space, and the hard drive cage definitely makes things worse, so opting for a longer power supply might be a bad idea in the 400C, even if it's entirely modular. However, if you're resorting to just SSDs, you'll have the entire bottom compartment to work with. I should also note, there was just barely enough clearance to close the right side panel unhindered. So if I had to just come up with one more complaint about this case, it would be the acrylic side window. But you're thinking, well, hold on, that's the best part. It swings open, it's huge, you can see everything inside. Well, let me be a little more specific here. It does look absolutely gorgeous, and in my opinion trumps even the tempered glass counterparts of other brands. However, the acrylic itself is almost always statically charged, meaning that dust and other debris are literally pulled to it constantly. Hold your hand over the panel and you'll feel what I mean. The static is real. But other than that and the tight squeeze of the basement compartment, I honestly have nothing else to complain about. I feel like the price is slightly high, considering the S340 at this point in time is about $25 cheaper than the 400C, but you're paying for the appeal in this case. And that is having a sturdy, ostentatious PC tower with a window large enough to show off even the sides of your radiators. That is what sets this PC apart from the rest in my book. Now I want to know what you think. Be sure to check out Corsair's link to the 400C in the description of this video, and leave your own personal comments in the comments section below that. Also, remember that I don't get paid for these reviews and nobody loans us anything, so all of the impressions that I'm giving you are my own personal impressions and are not influenced by any particular corporation. We just like the 400C on paper and wanted to test it out in person. Other than that, be sure to like or dislike the video depending on how you felt about it. Subscribe to us for more videos like this and other techie/sciencey topics, and be sure to let us know what you'd like to see next. This is Science Studio. Thanks for learning with us.